What you do, girl? Let's get it to him, baby girl.
I just got to get to the good part and then we're good. All right. All right. That's it. I cut it off like that.
You cut it off just like that? You just cut it off just like that? You're
Hey.
like, we're done.
Good morning, Nick. Guess what?
What? Chicken butt.
What are you,
I'm
4?
sorry. I have kids. That's what happens when you have kids. They go, Dad. I go, guess why? Chicken thigh.
Wait. Rihanna's going to be on our... No, I'm just kidding.
Riri's our guest.
But we actually have
Riri,
someone better than Riri today. No,
we actually do have someone better than Riri today. And by the way, like when I posted about our guest today, when I posted about our guest yesterday that we have today, it went kind of nuts in the group. People are super excited because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, keeping KW going, active on the social medias, on the social medias. It's hard. So we'll get into our guests in a few minutes, so stay tuned.
So as I was saying.
Yes, I'm listening.
My desk motor came in.
Oh, let's tell everyone what happened on Wednesday in case they forgot.
Wednesday was a disaster the entire morning, and I'm usually very type A. And the whole thing fell apart, my whole world. And I broke my stand-up desk, my big L-shaped desk, because I was trying to force something that didn't want to go, which is shocking that would perhaps be my natural behavior style. So I FedExed a new motor, and yesterday I hooked it up, and guess what? Ready?
Yeah, let's see. Whoa, that is
back.
That's actually really cool. Make it go all the way up and down.
Oh, now it's like broken. Now I just broke it again. Okay.
I have one too. Ready? Watch this. Ready? Wait.
Yeah, poor Steph. Steph Chapman knows me. I tried to force a square peg in a round hole, but at least the motor was not pricey, and at least they.
I have one too. Ready? Watch this. I have one too. Ready? Just kidding. I don't really have an elevator in my house. Anyway. Oh, it's Friday. I'm always in a good mood on Friday. Always in a good mood.
And then today we were going to see each other for like 3.5 hours this morning. So that is a super pleasant experience.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is. I'm doing a top 20% mastermind with Caryn's office. Hey,
top 10, and following, I've got a meeting with my regional director today, so I'm quite scared.
I would be scared because your regional director is scary. I mean, have you met him? It's like being afraid of Santa Claus. Really, is what it's like being afraid of the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about him. And today with our guest, it's going to completely validate my behavior every day. So I couldn't be more excited because I just want her to acknowledge, I want Keller Williams International to make a statement validating that I am, in fact, the one who brought TikTok to the forefront to the Keller Williams family because, in fact, it was me.
Are you going to say that KW has a TikTok account now because of your success on TikTok? Do you think that they followed you in your shoes?
Yeah, I mean, of course, a social media strategist would follow a 47-year-old middle-aged woman from the suburbs. I mean, that would make perfect sense of what they do. So,
no, yeah, she is crushing it with the TikToks with KW. Hey, can I just say something? So yesterday, so 3 days ago, I'm reading in the Wall Street Journal.
What?
I read the Wall Street Journal. I do read smart stuff. So I have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. I like to pretend I'm, I like to learn $10 SAT words once in a while. So I was reading the Wall Street Journal, and DoorDash was going public.
They are big IPO coming up.
They went public already. They went public already, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're valued at 30. They're now valued over 40 billion, but like they were going public at like 102, and then they ended the day at like 189, and I was like, the next day they went public, and I'm like, I missed it, right? And then the next day after that, the Airbnb went public for like 90 or something. Anyway, Airbnb like went up 30% or something too in the first, and I missed that. And so that's why I was like, I gotta get it in the stock market. So I joined your Robinhood. I joined your Robinhood link yesterday.
Good, because now I get a free stock. So thank you. And I started a Robinhood.
I got the crappiest free stock, by the way.
So I haven't looked at mine yet, but I did start an account during the quarantine in March and the shutdown. So every monthly I cut out, like XM radio or any bill that when Gary said, knock out your expenses, subscriptions, you don't even know how many subscriptions we all carry. And so I started buying stock. And one of the stocks I bought was Lululemon, which, by the way, was like one of the best stocks I've ever. I mean, I bought it at like 100. It's like $380 today. So I bought like.
Okay. Tell me, anybody who's watching right now who's in the stock market, like, what should I buy? So here's the thing. My kids play a game called Roblox. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Okay. Roblox over the quarantine, like the user base of Roblox, like, I don't know, quadrupled. And so they're about to go public. And I'm thinking, I should buy Roblox because games like Fortnite and Roblox and things like that, they just blew up more than ever because people are home. So I'm thinking I'm going to buy Roblox when it goes public. But my wife and I were talking like, let's buy stocks that like, I have some stuff on my watch list, like. Yeah. But who.
Well, I'll tell you what did well. Starbucks I made good money yesterday on Starbucks. Facebook, I lost money. I don't know what happened. What happened?
Facebook because they're going through a bunch of nonsense
right
now.
Teladoc, like I bought Teladocs, I bought Moderna, like I bought all those people.
Oh, but Pfizer might be a good one to buy.
Lulu, I bought at $186. I bought 2 shares because I'm not a big spender. It's at $366 today.
Okay, so here's what's on my list.
My goal is keep buying $200 leggings, ladies. Keep it up.
I'm navigating okay, here's what's on my. So I have DoorDash on my watch list, Disney on my watch list. I added GoPro. I'm surprised GoPro.
Oh, I just sold my GoPro. Yeah, I just sold it like 3 days.
You did? Okay. I put Airbnb.
I'm
surprised Apple is so low at 122.
They just split their stock. That's why. They just split their stock like 2 months ago. So that's why Apple's up.
Disney's going to go up because they just announced they just announced 87 million subscribers on Disney Plus and 20 new movies and TV shows in the next 2 years. You know what's funny, Nick? Okay, I'm going to change the subject for 1 second, but I'm not. I'm actually teaching a class today. It's on Zoom, so you can go to our training calendar, e2psuccess.com. I'm teaching a class today on forming an LLC versus being a 1099. So I think I'm teaching at like 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I'm not sure. So, maybe someone could. Can you add S Corp into that too? Because that's a big discussion. Well, no, I can talk. You want an LLC and you want to tax as an S Corp, but I'm not going to. I'm not an accountant, but I do know the benefits of forming a corporation as an independent contractor. So if you go to e2psuccess.com, you can join in. So speaking of you saying you're not an accountant, I saw the funniest meme yesterday on Facebook. A guy on a stretcher getting loaded into an ambulance, and he goes, "Are you taking me to the hospital?" And it says, "No, sir. We need experts. We're taking you to the comments section." Okay, I'm bringing our guest on. By the way, Shawana Bryan, thank you, leader. I'm teaching at 1 o'clock today. I'm glad she has my schedule. All right, I'm gonna. Can I introduce her?
smile what haters say. Ignore them till they fade away. Amazing day I great, but after all the game I gave away.
She's got a cheer dance. All right. Marliese, who are you?
Hi. Hold on. First of all, I just want to say I was told not to call you May.
You can call me whatever you want to call me. I'll respond.
You know what? Because you're May on Facebook.
I am. And May on Instagram too.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
My name is May. It is my name. But my full name is Marliese, which I tend to go by professionally. But I'm the social media strategist for Keller Williams. So
you're on Command Your Morning, so there's no professionalism this morning on Command Your Morning.
I love saying goodbye to my professionalism in this capacity this morning.
I don't know the last time I was professional.
That I can appear on a camera for Keller Williams and not be professional. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, Keller Williams is like, don't embarrass us. No,
yeah.
No, they're all now.
Yeah, you do a great job of it. We do enough for all of you. We embarrass ourselves. So
I'm here.
All right, well, Marliese is the social media strategist for Keller Williams International. There's only what is it? You have 100,000 followers on Instagram, give or take. 100,000 followers on Twitter, give or take. I think there's 150,000 followers on Facebook, and then you have TikTok.
Yeah, our TikTok is,
and it's all in your hands.
We have a lot of followers on LinkedIn too. Don't forget about LinkedIn. One of our strongest channels, actually.
I actually like the LinkedIn channel is one of the best, I think, for KW social media because the way you're able to format it out. So what do we need to know? I'm so excited about this.
There's so much to know.
Let me start with a question.
Yeah.
Everyone was so excited that you were coming on today because lately, and I've messaged you a few times on Instagram, lately, you've just been on fire. If you pay attention to social media and you follow the KW accounts, just lately you've just noticed that it's gotten really good. And I messaged Jason and I was like, who is this girl all of a sudden? Because at Mega Camp you were all over. And he goes, oh, Marliese. I'm like, yeah, well, where'd she come from? So tell everyone where you came from.
Yeah, well, I've been running the Keller Williams social media channels actually since April of 2017. So I've been doing all of that behind the scenes for a really long time. But
you were 14 when you started.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was 25. So y'all can do the math in your heads really fast. But I think a lot of it was building up trust. Real estate is traditionally very conservative, especially with the internet, right? It's like we're 10 years behind so many other industries sometimes. And my background, actually, my first job was doing social media marketing at a boutique agency, but I did it for Ryan Homes, NV Homes, all of that. So I was running their social ads and their Facebook pages for their little communities. So home developers and doing that kind of end, which was really boring and not really a lot of exciting, not a lot of experimentation. I moved to Austin, joined Keller Williams, and because we're kind of concerned that it would be the same sort of thing. But very quickly, I kind of started pitching ideas, bringing new things to the team. And the first time they allowed me to kind of do stories, appear on camera, was during Mega Relief. And from there, during our events, is when I kind of started doing our stories coverage. And then I think Family Reunion a couple of years ago, we decided to start doing recap videos. And then they asked me to be on camera for the recap videos. So that's sort of how I started kind of getting up there. But through doing all those things, they started trusting me to be able to go out on our channels and put stuff out there, and trusting that I have a relationship with the agents out there, that they are interested in seeing me, seeing what I'm bringing to our social channels. And all of that is kind of this really long path that has gotten us to launching this TikTok and kind of doing these funnier, goofier videos that we're not pushing a marketing initiative behind, that we're not linking back to something, that we're trying to put out some content just to engage our audience, to have you guys laugh, to show that we, have a sense of humor, that we do understand younger agents, that we want to talk to millennial, Gen Z, not only customers, but potential agents, or people who already are agents with Keller Williams, because we have plenty of young people who are part of the company. but yeah, it's a lot of it has been a journey of building trust, showing them what I can do, the creativity that I can bring to our social channels, getting the buy-in from executives, and getting the art done, having the video team producing stuff, and being able to have more of a control and voice in all of that. But it's been a real journey, but I'm so excited about it. And like, I wanted to start a TikTok family reunion 2020. I remember like end of 2019, I was like, 2020, I really want to start a TikTok. I think it would be so cool. At family reunion, each day of family reunion, we had like a new TikTok to kind of launch the channel. But I was doing like 3 jobs at family reunion. You may recall the social booth that was happening at family reunion. That was also my baby, and I had to take care of that. I still had to do the recap videos. I still had to do the social media stories. So I was too busy to do all that. But then COVID hit, and there's this whole new opportunity that kind of opened up about, I think that's also part of the reason our channels have been so strong this year, because people are paying attention in a different way. They're plugging in a different way. They're looking for connection in a different way than they have been. And our channels have kind of opened up to be, we've been there and we've been fostering this community, and we were really ready to receive it when everybody kind of changed how they were operating and what their digital behaviors were like during this time. And my final point, I know I've been talking for so long.
No, keep going. Now I'm like, the more you keep talking, the more questions I have.
I think the final point is like what really, I think, allowed the TikTok to be so cool and like really come at the right time and to find some success in all of this has been the fact that I'm at home. I live by myself. I have my whole house. I can be as loud, do as many re-recordings as I need to, get as frustrated as I need to. There's been a learning curve. We've done 5 TikToks. And it's, some of them have taken me longer to figure stuff out, like doing a transition. There's one where like I switched shirts really figuring that sort of stuff out. And I feel like if I was in an office setting and there's the engineering department and tech department trying to figure out how to make command go work, and the marketing department trying to work out the emails, and then like I would be in the corner trying to be like, I need to listen to this Black Eyed Peas song 80 times. Like I feel like it would have been harder, and I wouldn't feel as free to be goofy or silly or like kind of make a clown out of myself in the way that sometimes a comedy TikTok video demands. So it's nice to have that I can be doing this in my house in my own space, and that we're in a sphere right now where it's not unusual or strange. Like if 2019, if I had started recording TikToks for Keller Williams and y'all were like in my kitchen, it probably would have been a weird experience. But now it makes sense. Nobody blinks at it.
I'm going to show like, here's your page, right?
Follow us on TikTok. We need your followers.
Yeah.
Follow.
So we need to get them verified. So here's the thing is I didn't know this was like, I saw KW. I'm like, oh, that's a cute young agent branding with KW, because the username, you can make anything. And so I really liked that it was not corporate. Like, who's this girl representing Keller Williams? She's adorable. And so I mean, so cute. And do you know your last one? You have 1,200 views. You tripled your views.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. As far as a strategy, like I kind of also, when I started doing this, the first one we did was just tips, which kind of came out of a series that we did out of Outfront. We've been doing all these amazing social media tips on Outfront. They do so well. We've seen how much our agents really appreciate that. So like we were like, oh, let's make some micro content. And so we made these little we basically created these tips for each social platform, and we optimized the tips to be what the best performing kind of post on each platform was. And so one of the things is that we created a TikTok article. Caryn, you might know a little bit about it.
Marliese, stop right there. Why might I know something about it?
Oh, well, Caryn, because you are a part of the influence of why Keller Williams has started a TikTok. I'm not even saying that because I'm on your show and I'm trying to butter you up. No, for real, but part of the argument that I brought to the marketing team is like, look at our agents are already out there on this platform. Look at Caryn Prowl doing, oh my God, Caryn, you're not Caryn, Caryn, Starbucks. I love them so much. But yeah, like you're doing such creative things, and our agents are always doing stuff. We get inspired all of the time by the field, and we see someone doing something really exciting, and we want to celebrate that. And we also want to bring that, we want to replicate it so that other agents can model it. So, when you see us putting stuff up on our Instagram, like a cute post that you can download from Designs, or me making a TikTok or doing an interview or shows like this is all models that can be copied and duplicated and brought to your business for success.
I'm with you. One, you are my favorite guest because you just made my entire world right now and number two is what I love about just the opportunity with social media, and you can tell me if I'm off base, and I don't know that I am because I love studying human behavior, but you're leading the way as a leader from international standpoint that you can be goofy, you can be fallible, you can be imperfect and do it anyway, because it is, when you said in the beginning, the human touch and connection. And I think that's what being like an attractor and influencer is like, I relate to that.
Okay, so I just did the math, and
sorry, Nick.
Sorry, I just did the math, and I completely miscalculated the follower count.
We have a lot of followers.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I didn't go to TikTok yet, but those three.
74 TikTok.
700. I'm rounding up. 710,000 followers.
Yeah.
So here's a question I have for you, and you made a good point.
I asked you a question, and then you interrupted.
I couldn't tell because I asked 9 questions already, and I'm sitting there just waiting for my one. But go ahead, Caryn.
So, what is the question I need to be answering?
Caryn wants to know. Here's Karen's question: how did she influence you?
No. We already had that question. I'm saying that you're granting permission from it's not granting permission per se, but allowing people saying, just go do it, put yourself out there.
Try it, fail forward.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, that was kind of what our thing is. I was like, I'm going to try this TikTok. If our agents like it, we'll do another one. If they like that one, I'll keep doing them. And that's kind of, it blows my mind actually every time I put one out there because it keeps better than the last one. And every time I kind of release it, there's this moment of like, all right, this is the one where they're going to think like, all right, Marliese, this one is lame. And so far, fingers crossed, it's been good. But I've also tried really hard to protect what is going on and have, when I am creating and thinking about okay, what's our next TikTok going to be? The standard is always going to be is this something that actually kind of I would want to watch? This is kind of make me giggle. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to make it because I don't.
Right.
I want to build trust, right? I don't want to just be making something to be it's Friday this week and we have not made it TikTok. I'm just going to jump around or do a Charli D'Amelio dance and just call it a day. It doesn't, I want to really have it make sense.
Yours are very creative, very creative. I think one more thing. I think being considerate.
Okay.
Just considerate to what's going on in the world, because I saw a Grey Goose commercial the other night on TV. And the Grey Goose commercial was showing people having a party, passing drinks around. And honestly, I was like, what? Right.
In what world? I would love to be at a party where we were passing drinks around.
So you're saying that it was completely socially unaware of what's going on in the world right now. Yeah.
100%.
All right. So I have first question I have is, you did make a good point when you were introducing yourself that essentially Kristen Jungle says isn't clearly not my day. No, that's okay. We've just been talking to her for 15 minutes and I haven't been able to ask one question because Karen's got 9 of them about how she influences TikTok. Just kidding. I love you.
Agenda.
I'm just kidding. Here's my question. Realtors they love to have opinions. They love to critique, right? And you are the face of them when you're creating content on our different platforms. What kind of pressure are you under, and what kind of feedback are you getting? Because knowing how realtors are, there's going to be some who are like, I don't like how KW is being represented on these different channels. How do you overcome that, and what are you and how does that affect the content you make?
The haters.
No, not the haters.
Well, because realtors get it too. This is good. This is a good question.
There are going to be people that love her but don't think that's the right image for the company. That's what I'm saying. So there's so many of them. How do you deal with that and come up with content that people will find acceptable?
There are a lot of voices in this company, and a lot of opinions fly around. That's a realistic thing. Me being a public figure for the company definitely opens me up to a lot a lot. And I I open that up even further. Like when I do stories, I'll tag my personal Instagram account. I invite it a little bit. But that's also the way I feel about it though, is like, if I'm going to be out here showing you like myself and like giving this like personal touch to Keller Williams, like let's give it the full personal touch. Like I am a real person, not just like, here's the personality of Marliese for Keller Williams. Right. It's a character. Like it's a little bit, I want to be a real person to our agents. Like in this situation, you know what I mean? Yes, there have been hate. Thankfully, most of our agents are like really, really nice to me, which I really appreciate. I am tender deep down. So it's really nice that I don't get a lot of like really mean comments. Not a lot of, the internet can be brutal. Like, and to have, I don't get a lot of comments about like, oh, like, why is she representing Keller Williams or like anything like that. I do think that like we have gotten feedback about people not liking some of the stuff we've done on our channels. There's stuff ranging from not liking a recap video from an event to not liking a graphic to just not liking generally like the tone of something. But also I would say like our channels aren't just like, I am appear on our channels. Like I would say the one that I'm on the most is our Instagram. Sure. But, like, you'll see me kind of scattered around our other channels too, but there's so much other content that goes out on our channels, right? Like if you're on LinkedIn, like you would not have to deal with me at all. You're reading out front articles and press releases and like learning about how to run your business and like operate things. But like if you're down to like clown around a little bit and you like want to hang out, make jokes, hang out with me on Instagram, hang out with me on Twitter. Like that's where that sphere is. But like if you want to do business, hang out on LinkedIn. If you want to like kind of have the overarching of everything, that's Facebook. Like our channels.
I have a continuation of my question, Caryn, so just sit tight.
But like as far as my advice for dealing with some of that is, I mean, Nick, I've seen your post about this too. If you're gonna go out there and be doing something, there's gonna be people that don't like it. Like no matter what, there's gonna be people that don't like what you're doing. If you could put out the most innocuous piece of information or content in the world, and there will still be someone out there that's like, I don't think that they did that right, or I think that is a little offensive to me, even though it's literally a photo of an orange.
I don't take good to citrus. It makes me
the citrus gives me canker sores, and I don't like
it. I always say like, if I was going to please everybody, I'd sell ice cream. But then what about people who are lactose intolerant or vegans? Like, you know what I mean?
There's no answers. So do what feels right for you, what feels authentic for you. If you're comfortable putting yourself out there, chances are you're going to feel so much more positive response to that because you have friends and family and people who are following you that have kind of just invested in your business or your time or whatever. And people respond to that vulnerability too. Like people like to see authenticity. People like can relate to the feeling of being like, I'm a little nervous about this, or like I'm trying something new and it's scary. And people tend to be kind, especially in this company. The culture at Keller Williams is like really special. I like would feel a lot more nervous about like going out and being like the face of like Compass or than I think I would for Keller Williams because our agents are so nice. So I do hate sometimes, but not a lot. Nothing that's like really hurt my feelings.
You mentioned real quick. You mentioned
comment. Wow.
Yeah, you mentioned that all the different types of content that you post on the different platforms, and I think that that's a very important point, right? For LinkedIn, blogs from blogs from out front, press releases, Instagram a little bit more fun. Right, but with stories, but then also in the newsfeed, I see a lot of very serious memes and KW value and culture. So, can you explain to agents, because this is where I think a lot of them fail with social media? Know your platform.
Yeah.
So, can you explain a little bit how they can figure out what to post where and when and stuff like that?
Yeah, like a tip for each platform that is like a must do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
LinkedIn.
I'm going to start with like an overarching tip and then I'll get into each one. So like if you want to be successful on any social media platform, you have to really like that platform. You have to be a user of that platform. You have to be engaged daily with that platform, not just for your business, but for you. So like you're not going to be successful on LinkedIn if every time you get on LinkedIn, you're like, I hate this platform. I don't want to do, like, I was like, I hate job searching. This makes me feel anxious, like whatever. Like you have negative associations for LinkedIn. Every time you get on there, you're not happy. Why are you making content for LinkedIn? You know, so like that my overarching piece of advice is like, if you want to be doing social, like, don't do social media if you're someone that like personally is like, I think social media is very evil and very weird, and I think posting selfies is dumb. Why are you on social then? Like, don't be on your business and running stuff and like being like, why am I not more successful on this platform that I hate? Like, why am I more successful on this platform that I like? I'm starting a TikTok, but I've never made a joke about business in my life. Like, why? Like, be thoughtful about like what your actual interests and time commitment can actually be, because you have to understand, like, part of the reason that I am good at my job is because I am an extremely online person. I love the internet, and I have been online and on the internet since I was, MySpace, like early days. Like I was probably 14 when I had my first MySpace. Like I have been on social media. And so that's my overarching piece of advice. You have to be on those platforms. You have to understand it. Going into each individual one. Really, and part of that too, you're going to have to do some level of experimentation. You have to learn who your audience on each platform is. Even if you only have 10 followers on Instagram, those followers are your audience. What are they responding to? If you can get all 10 of those followers to like every single one of your posts, pretty soon you're going to have 15 followers, 25 followers, 50 followers. You have to pay attention to what works. Then more universal advice, but sorry. So going into each platform. So Twitter is a conversation. Twitter is not something that you should just be like throwing just like articles out into the world or like doing anything else. You need to be hopping in to what other people are talking about on Twitter. It is an engagement thing. Like you're going to get so much more out of responding to other posts, engaging with other agents, diving into a higher level real estate conversation than just being like, I have this listing. Like who is on Twitter being like, oh, let me look through this housing listings photos. Like let me call this agent. I'd like to try. No one, that is not a Twitter user behavior. People on Twitter literally like either looking at cat videos or like having their blood pressure skyrocket because of whatever is happening.
Well, news. Yeah. People like my age group, they go for news. That's what they,
So if you want to be on Twitter, you need to be engaged in the conversation. And like, there's absolutely a high level real estate conversation happening on Twitter all the time. You've got to follow reporters. You've got to follow like Brad Inman and all those reports, like follow real estate reporters, follow real estate publications, dive into the news. You'll see people that are responding and engaging, and you can kind of start growing your channels that way. But like Twitter is a conversation. It is not a listing lead gen sort of thing. Like you're there to network with other agents. I would say it'd be great for getting referrals. I think it's great for just learning more about your industry, tips, that sort of thing. But like, I don't think you're really going to be getting like leads, listings, like that sort of thing. Not Twitter's platform. Facebook is like the behemoth. You can really do anything you want on Facebook. Like that's the only channel I will say that for. Like if you want to go on Facebook and share about your listings, very valid. If you want to go on Facebook and share memes, very valid. If you want to go on Facebook and like share videos about there's so many things that you can be doing on Facebook that I think are appropriate for the audiences there, just because there's so many people on Facebook, and Facebook kind of has an identity crisis. It really doesn't know what it wants to be. Facebook is like, yes, we are a social networking platform that's like really focused on groups and personal connections that way. But also we really, 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 really want to sell you stuff.
Let me show you my ski machine from my news that's sitting right here.
Who is surrounded by things that they've bought at midnight off of a Facebook feed or Instagram feed. But so there's a lot that you can be doing with Facebook. I would say that's where you can be the most broad with your content. Like you can share your personal pieces of information. You can share your listings. You can share real estate tips. You can be talking to other real estate agents. You can be talking to your clients. I think it is much more of a free-for-all. Obviously pay attention to what performs and then inform it that way. But I'm not going to go in and like, I'm on Twitter and I'm like, don't put your listings on Twitter. Put your listings on Facebook if you want to. If your audience responds to that, go nuts. I have plenty of realtor friends who are constantly doing business on Instagram and Facebook, and like that works for them. But I have other real estate friends who don't post about their business and kind of just, they talk about their business, they talk about real estate, but like I've never seen a listing photo from them, right? So I think there's a lot of different things there. My last piece of advice for Facebook is a pay to play marketplace now. If you're running a business page and you're not putting any money behind it, you have probably already seen over the last 5 years how much your reach has gone down, how few people are interacting with it, how little engagement you can be getting. You can spend as little as $5 on a post and it will make a huge difference. The budget for Facebook is not big, but as soon as you give them a little bit of coin, they'll be like, oh, here's your followers back. Sorry. They were
why don't you boost for another $30?
Yeah. Give us more money, please. Money, please. It's very frustrating.
Well, about your Facebook business page, because a recent study came out from Facebook that said that when clients are
You're echoing.
I don't know why. Oh, it stopped. When clients are looking for a realtor to work with, the 3 out of 4 Facebook users will visit business pages. Now, I would say while your posts won't get much organic reach, it's important to keep your content fresh on your business page because of that fact.
Yes.
If a client goes to your Facebook page and it is a wasteland, and being that most buyers now are first time mid-30s, they really take social media seriously. So keep your business page fresh, simply because when someone Googles you, it's really right at the top.
Yeah.
When I see that post hasn't happened since like 2018, I'm like, oh, they're out of business.
Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird to go to a page and it's not been active. And like, there's not even, sometimes I'll go on an Instagram and like, there's not been a recent post. Like it'll be like 2019 was the last post, but like, at least I'll have like a circle, like their stories are active. There's something to get into that's like, oh, this is new. This person is here. They've pivoted what they're doing, but like this is an active page versus like, if you go and click onto, for example, I'm going to throw you under the bus, Caryn. If you go into like Eat a Pea on their Facebook page and there was like nothing since March 2020, you're like, well, pivot. The shift got them. You just want to see that this is like an active business. Like, yes, you want to see engagement, you want to drive all of that, but like, yeah, you need to be posting and like having stuff be present and like active on all. If you have a social channel, you need to keep that channel.
Well, this is going to bring a question on our next channel I want to ask you about. And there are posts, like I love TikToks, like the editor, I like all about it. And I can post right to Instagram. I need help with Instagram stories, a feed, help me understand. And then in my messages, they'll be like, oh, you were mentioned in a story. Why can't I ever go find that story? And I don't know, help. Instagram, what do we need to know?
Instagram, it's a baby of Facebook. Instagram is not great for links. If you're like trying to send someplace out to like go and like click onto something, Instagram is not your place. You've got to have 10,000 followers or be verified to even have a swipe up link in your stories. Mm-hmm. It's not great. So Instagram is like really, so I'm going to give my advice and then I'm going to kind of answer more of your specific questions, Caryn. Instagram is a visual place, but it's also not quite as serious sometimes. I mean, Facebook, I think, got a little less serious once it started the stories and all of that. And like everything has gotten like a little less professional in 2020 world. But Instagram has the opportunity you can do both, right? You can have a really curated, very professional looking feed, and then you can be like up being goofy and dancing to like TikTok songs in your stories. Like that is like a very real thing that I've seen a lot of people kind of participating in, this like really curated, editorialized kind of feed where it's like all your beautiful listing photos, all of your really beautiful headshots that you've done of yourself, whatever else is going on. And then, your real personality, the agent that you will be working with is showcased in the stories, right? So it's like, look how good I'm going to make your house look. Look how well I'm going to market your listing.
Okay.
Your house. But then also I'm going to be your bud. And like, I'm a good hang, like that's something that you can be demonstrating and doing on Instagram, but you can mix that in other ways. Like you don't have to have the most curated feed. The curated feed is like something I would say is like very much like a 2014, 2015, 2016 internet. The less curated feed is like feels very 2019, 2020. This constant search for authenticity, this constant search for like kind of standing out. So we're very curatorial about like our Keller Williams feed. Like that's, I think, part of the reason why our Instagram has started to become more successful, but that's a brand, right? Like that brand feed, when you look at the bird's eye, like if I was an agent or if I was like thinking about becoming a Keller Williams agent, I want to like go onto our main Instagram feed and be like, wow, Like that looks really cool, or like that looks really good. But like, you know, if you're an agent, like think about what you would want to see as a consumer looking at like an agent's page. Like, do you want to see if like, is your typical consumer or customer someone who like are a luxury client who wants to see like beautiful, sumptuous, highly like curated photos of houses and very, very professional? Or is it, you know, kind of like a family who just wants to find someone who is reliable and trustworthy and won't try to like sell them up on stuff, and you know what I mean? And you know, there's photos of your kids, and then there's photos of houses and photos with your clients having a good time, you know, those sorts of things really kind of tell the story of who you are as an agent. And that can come through. But you're not, again, and you can be, I would say you can be definitely sharing about your listings, promoting your listings that way. I think that can be very successful, but you're not going to be able to like link to them. Like it's the start of a conversation, getting some people excited, like great for teasing or drawing out like details. Like if you've got a listing coming up, or you, I follow this real estate agent who specializes in old homes, and like her Instagram is always these like beautiful, like sumptuous details of like, oh, can you believe this guardrail in this house? Or like, can you like look at this original tiling? And like all those little like call out things that like make you excited about a specific listing. But like, I'm not clicking, you know, the link in her bio to go buy, you know what I mean, through that behavior. It makes me excited about it, makes me curious about it, that I might contact her and then be like, let me go see this house in person. Or can you give me to your app?
Yeah, I had an agent on my team in New Jersey, and she had a really great strategy where she would be out showing homes, and then she would post a picture of a feature of a home she was showing. Like let's say it was a beautiful fireplace with a great mantle. She'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I love this fireplace. Are you a fireplace lover? With you know, or I love these floors.
Yeah,
they're beautiful hardwood. What's your favorite type of floor for your home?" And so like she would post pictures on Insta with features and asking for opinions, and then she'd get these comments, and all of her business came from that type. And she capped in her first year. And by the way, capping in New Jersey is $37,000, so it's not like it was a small feat, right? Mm-hmm. She capped in her first year, and it was all from that strategy.
Wow,
it was incredible. Yeah. So you're right. Like, it's a social platform, and it's okay to post a listing now and then, but you can sell by being social with that type of strategy.
You have to be likable, right?
Well, I've recruited agents just because they're like, I just need to know who you are on screen on social media is who you are in person, right? So because I explain that our goal is as a realtor is to have mind share, right? And your potential customer client should know you before you know them. So they should have seen you on social media. They should see you on channels. They should see who you are and like what you're about before you even meet them. So it makes a familiar connection when you do finally meet them.
Yeah. And it's a likability game. All social media is a likability game. And I think Jason Abrams is the one who said that, like, can you end your day and say that more people like you today than they did yesterday? And if they did, then you have done your job really well. Then your business is going to be successful.
That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah. It is a likability game. It's not a popularity game. Popularity and likability are very, very different. But like, are you likable? Do you come across as someone that people would want to do business with, that they would want to be friends with? And chances are, if you're already using social media, you have people that are following you that do think that you're likable, right? So I think that you have to just be your authentic self and think strategically, obviously, about your business and about the platform that you are operating your business and on social media. But there's a way to, if you're already a business professional, you're already a person, you're already a social media user. So make it make sense for whatever platform you're on.
Right. And don't be a secret agent. I mean,
don't be a secret agent. Put yourself out there. Kind of circling back, there's been like 2 or 3 things that come up. Your specific question, Caryn, about how to be successful on Instagram. So like you're talking about like getting tagged in stories and all of that. Like, so what is specifically like overwhelming you about that?
I don't know the difference of what I post to a story. What does that mean versus posting to my feed, posting to my select audience? Like, it's too many options.
So when you're posting to your feed, that is like think of that as like a permanent post. Like I try to think of it as more of like you're a magazine and you're this is something that's going in the print edition. This is a concrete final version. It's going to live up on your feed for a while. It's going to be something that is not necessarily evergreen, but that like you want people to engage with, that they want to be able to come back and see and refer to. Something that you're putting in your stories, for instance, is very ephemeral, very like of the moment. It's only going to be for 24 hours. You
like Snapchat.
Yeah, you can save it in your highlight if it's going to be longer. If you're, if you're like, we do our events and you want to go back and look at an event, you know what I mean? Like there's something like that. I can see that also, like, for instance, if you're using stories to do an open house and like that house is still up, putting a highlight of that sort of thing into your stories makes a lot of sense. But like your experience of going and clicking that highlight of like you doing a story walkthrough of a house would be very different than like a professionally made video of a walkthrough of your house, which I would say would be a feed feature. Whereas like me holding my phone like this and like walking through the house, like, hey guys, like here's the office. That's definitely like an Instagram stories thing. Like, so I'd say if you have a professional photographer, if you have a professional videographer, if this is like a well sophisticated graphic, you've someone on your marketing team for your business is like kind of put that together, that is a feed post. But if it's like kind of off the cuff, you're kind of like trying something out, especially like you are just like holding the camera and it's you doing it, that is a story sort of thing. So feed, I try to think of as more professional. The longevity is there, the curation is there, whereas like it can be a little bit more haphazard on your stories because it's only going to be up for 24 hours. So like if you want to be like, you're not really like a meme account, like you post funny stuff every once in a while, but you're not trying to have like memes in your throw them up on your stories, and like your audience will still see them and get the laugh and see like, oh, like Nick is actually like a really funny guy, not just like a super serious luxury agent. But like you're not ruining your luxury agent look by the fact that you had a meme in there, right?
Yeah. No,
I'm extremely serious.
Yes.
When Caryn, I have one. Yeah, I was going to ask Kimberly's question.
Yeah, that was actually one of the other ones.
Yeah, because it's a great one. Because I think there's twofold, right? So Caryn's a team leader. I was a team leader. She also owns 4 market centers. Now I'm regional tech trainer. 5 market centers. I can't keep up. At Keller Williams, when you're in a leadership role, you have goals and metrics that you have to hit, right? No matter what role you're in, OP, TL, regional, tech trainer. So 2 things. One, what does KW expect from you of their channels in terms of growth and engagement? Do you have goals for that? And second, her second question was great because I think it goes hand in hand. If you're looking to hire a social media manager for your team or business, what should you look for and what should you expect from them?
Guys are really great questions. Not easy to answer questions, but really good questions. So the expectations that Keller Williams kind of has on me and our channels, we don't have specific goals. Like there's not like Annie Sweat, head of marketing, is not like coming to me being like, Marliese, if we don't hit 200,000 followers on Facebook this year,
you're gone. That's not. I know Annie can be. When you see that side of Annie.
I've never. Yeah, that's 100 to a T. That was it. No, I would say all of our channel goals are goals that I actually set. And generally my goal for growth and engagement is like, I would like to see 10% growth. I would like to see 10% engage, like our engagement rate to be above 5%. So I would like to see a 10% growth, and I would like to see above a 5% engagement rate. Those can be kind of pie in the sky, lofty goals. We don't hit them every year. But I think that's always what we're striving towards. And as long as we see growth on the channels and that our channels are stronger than they were last year, that we're doing something new on our channels than we were the year before that, then we're kind of assessing that and being like, that this has been a pretty successful year for us. There can be nitty gritty like details about like how that goes, but generally if the channels grew, if we tried new things, if our audience is still engaging at a really high rate, then we're really happy with how that's done. And that's pretty much what we've been able to accomplish. We have really, really high engagement. Again, Facebook has turned into this play-to-play marketplace. Instagram rebranded how they do everything, and people's behavior kind of changed. The social uprisings over the summer really changed social media behavior. But still, despite all of that, we are still engaging with our audience at such a high level. We have such like 11% engagement rates on certain channels, and they're really, really, really high. And honestly, for me, like how I feel about it is the engagement rate is the bottom line for me. Like, yes, I want to see our audiences grow. I do want to have 1 million followers across all of our channels. Like those are lofty goals. But for me, on like what I like celebrate when I'm celebrating the small wins, when I'm looking at like, you know, we might not have really like grown the channel a whole lot. Like we only had a 3% growth on Facebook this year, but we had 7% engagement, which is like much better than like the 5% engagement that we had last year. You know, like that sort of thing still tells me that like, okay, Facebook is like really throttling who I'm able to reach without spending oops and gobs of money. But the people that I am reaching really appreciate the content that I'm making. And
my question is that increase, is that monthly, is that annually? How often do you check those metrics?
I check our metrics monthly, and then we do end of year stats. So like I literally just pulled all of our end of year stats and like looked at all of that. This is very
Tell us what they are.
No, I won't. I will say that we okay. Let's see how quickly.
You don't have to.
Oh no, I can. I can pull this up real fast. Just the highest level.
Well, so while you're answering that,
we reached we reached almost 14 million for the whole year.
14 million reach
of 14 million across all 4 of those social channels. I like that's some really, really quick math that I just did, but like, for the year is like how much we did. And like, I would say like during our events alone, we usually reach 2 million people. Just like during family reunion, during mega camp, it's usually several million. From those alone. So like our channels are really, really, really powerful, huge audiences. There's so much engagement on them. So sorry, that's how I get measured. And like, but a lot of it, I also contribute, like, other than just like how our channels are doing, I contribute to so many of our marketing campaigns and other initiatives that go forward that like maybe get a small touch on social media, but I'm engaged in other things. So there's other metrics that I get measured by my performance and stuff by. As far as if you're hiring someone to do your social media and like what that looks like, I think it really depends on what your business goals are and like what your personality as an agent is. But I think there's a lot of different things that you could be looking for. Like, do you want someone who's going to be kind of like me? Do you want someone who is literally going to be creating content, making TikToks, like running, like doing all this like community management stuff? Like that is a really specific set of skills that you're going to have to hire to very specifically, and a personality type that you're going to have to hire to specifically. Yeah. Versus like if you just want a social media manager who is like behind the scenes, like, and also I think that's an important thing if you're as a business, like it makes sense for Keller Williams. We're a huge brand. We have lots of different people that represent us in different ways. But if you're one agent, do you want to hire someone else to go and be the face of your TikTok instead of you being the face of your TikTok? Like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But so like what should you be doing versus what should you be hiring someone else to do? But then, yeah, if you just want someone behind the scenes who's literally running your Facebook ads, knows how to run command really well, who's just going to like come up with content and push all that out there, that is a little bit easier to hire to. My personal take as someone who's worked in that is that social media is something that can be really easily devalued. When you're doing it successfully, it looks really easy. It looks kind of fun. But that's the hardest part. That's like the skill that you are paying for. And also just as a general reminder, like being on the internet can be like taxing for your mental health. It can be, if you're putting yourself out publicly, you're opening yourself up to all of this. So like if you're hiring someone to do your social media, have a lot of respect for like what you're actually asking that person to do. You can't expect them to be responding to every message that comes through at 2 a.m. You can't. And
thank God there's tools that actually subsidize that for you. I mean, like use the tools that these social platforms do provide as well, the autoresponders and things like that. So, Marliese, can I have you on every day next week and then throughout 2021?
You can have me back on as a guest. I know that this hour has flown by, and I'm like,
Marliese, I'm gonna have you. I'm gonna connect you with we're gonna have you in Lab Code Agents for a 1-hour webinar for sure. That's gonna be nuts. I think it'll be, because we're all about tech and social media. But hey, quick question. Wait, no, wait a minute. Are you serious?
You have to let Nick ask the question.
Caryn, I have a question.
I do, but I have to jump off because I'm doing a mastermind in 5 minutes.
You think over what I'm asking. That's so. You know what? Now I forget what my question was. My question was, okay, so then on the other half of Kimberly's question, if you're hiring a social media manager, I just want to add, since they have to be mentally strong, you might want to pay for therapy. And second, the goals are essentially, what do you want to accomplish? Like, you know what I mean? Like KW doesn't really hold you to, oh, we need, you know, Annie doesn't really yell at you and tell you that you need to grow by 200,000 subscribers. So I thought that was a great piece of advice. One final question. Do you have to run everything by Gary?
No, I do not.
No, and I mean that in a joking way. Like, before you put something out into the universe, does KW need to see it, or do you just kind of like, do they go, May, this is kind of what we're looking for, or do they just trust you to come up with, you know?
Yeah. Before, I mean, there's always been a really good level of trust. That's something that really stood out to me when I was hired onto the position, is that they trusted me right away to kind of just like go onto our channels and do stuff. But like me appearing on camera, me doing all that, that's something that got earned. And like, yes, I am definitely at a really cool point right now where I post our TikToks and people don't review them. I am trusted that is like, my boss and Annie and like those people, they like, I have really earned that trust. And like, I have, there's like, that comes from me, no missteps. That comes from me really understanding our audience. Like I couldn't have come in and just done that. But now I am in a position where I think they really trust me. And I think that that's another thing where I understand and speak to the internet in a way that some of our leadership maybe doesn't, because I'm a little bit younger. This is my field of expertise. Like Annie did not spend all of her time being like fighting on the comments of Twitter when she was 16 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I understand this conversation, this language that we're kind of speaking when we're making jokes and making memes and doing TikTok stuff on the internet. Like I understand that conversation that's kind of happening, that this language, this like kind of subtext that appears in so much of internet culture, so much of like memes and jokes on the internet. Yeah. So I think there's stuff that if I was trying to get permission to do it, if I was trying to bring this to leadership, they might shut down a really good idea because they don't understand it. And like, if I'm pitching it and they're not seeing how it's going to find the final result, they might say, oh, that's a little too scary. Or like, that seems really weird that you want to like get buried in leads. But I've earned the right that they trust me, that they trust our audiences, that they trust the relationship I have with our agents, that I can kind of just go out and put stuff out there. Obviously, the first time I misstep on that all could change very quickly. So I take that also very, very seriously. Like I will never put something out there that I am not 100% confident that like no one is going to tap me on the shoulder about anyway. Like, you know, it felt a little, even the most recent one where we kind of judged it in Zillow a little bit, like that felt risky. Like I was a little like, okay, is someone going to be like, Marliese, what are you doing on the TikToks? But I was also like, this is something that Gary has been saying. This is like, this is not new information for Keller Williams to have this stance. This is not new information to be coming from our company. And so I was like, I'm going to take this risk because I know our audience is going to love this. I know.
Well, you know how Gary, you know his Zillow anyway. Yeah, you know how Gary feels about Zillow anyway, so that was a great one. So anyway, I have to jump off too because that mastermind, the mastermind that Caryn jumped off for, that's the one that I'm teaching. So, but anyway, this was awesome. I think like people were taking like furious notes, and we definitely have to have you back, and I'm definitely going to have you on a webinar in Lab Coat Agents. So thank you so much. It's cool to like finally get to know the person behind what's going on with their almost 1 million. Can you imagine the 1 million followers on all the platforms? That's going to be
throw
huge.
A party. There'll be something really cool that I do on our social channels when we hit 1 million. Love it. Thank you so much for having me on class. I had so much fun.
Yeah, you were awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon, everyone. Go take some of these tips and just go crush it today.
Yeah,
we'll see you
follow
soon.
us on TikTok.
Bye.
Bye.